Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughan for Sam Sports Report. Today's date is Friday, June 16th, 2023. We're going to go over players we highlighted because for the Vikings and their Vikings release schedule, we did that already, but now that Delvin Cook is gone, we're going to go back over the players that we did for Delvin Cook for the Minnesota Vikings. Here we go. And then the screen will come by with each player that we highlighted previously. Week 8, the Green Bay Packers play the Minnesota Vikings. Christian Darnish and David Bakhtiaro, both tackles. Week 9, Falcons, Zadarius Smith, Calais Campbell. This will be the first time for this season. First time as a Falcon, Calais Campbell will be this season. Falcons Week 9, Zadarius Smith, Calais. Week 10, New Orleans Saints play the Vikings. Brian O'Neill at tackle and Ryan Zimmermack for the Saints at tackle. Brian O'Neill for the Vikings. I tried to do different players for each one. Sometimes I did repeat some of them. Look back at the matchups. Conference realignment. ESPN's Pete Thamel has given a report that San Diego State intends to leave the conference, the Mountain West Conference, in 2024-2025. San Diego State would need to give a year's notice to join a conference for the season. If the schedule notice is June 30th to lead the Mountain West, double from $16.5 million to nearly $34 million, according to Thamel. This comes after multiple reports that would be candidate to join the Pac-12 if a Power 5 league chooses to expand. Pac-12 negotiations, the conference realignment deals reach expires following upcoming season. The withdrawal letter would June 13th would notice a resignation, and San Diego State doesn't have to offer the Pac-12 the conference. In the letter of San Diego State asked the Mountain West to be open to discussing their exit and fees, a 4-year treatment installment plan considered by pay potential exit fee. The league would respond to San Diego State's letter. Dated June 14th, they accepted a letter of withdrawal consequences with withdrawal begun, while adding the school won't be revealed until 2024 without modified exits due by June 24th. The prominent response to Sandy's letter wasn't officially resignation, rather clarifying the extension of June 30th. In the basketball, San Diego State would help them a lot as they went to the national championship game and eventually would lose to UConn in the national championship game. It would really help the Pac-12 if they got this team. The football team went just 7-6, but before that went 12-2 and had an unbelievable season. San Diego State could improve the Pac-12 if they have a season like this. And USC and UCLA are both leaving for the Big Ten. the Big 12 could also be a possibility. In baseball, the Royals are one of the 4 teams to reach as bad as record as they do. All those teams lost 100 games. The best player is out for the season so far for the Royals, and maybe has the most potential. Vinny Pasquantino is out for the season with a shoulder injury. Salvador Prez got hurt last night. The Royals better trade him before this blows up in their face. So far, J.J. Picola thinking he's trading Salvi, according to reports, according to his media availability.
Let's talk about the trade deadline. I know you were quoted yesterday talking about Salvador Prez, that you have had somebody reach out about Salvador Perez. You pointed out that, listen, it's really in his corner because he has 10-5 rights, which means he can veto any trade offer or any trade that might be made about. So Salvador Perez has to be on board. You mentioned, filling the organization. That is a way. Trades are another way to fill the organization with talent. Is there a scenario that you can see where Salvador Perez would accept a trade?
That's a tough one to answer. I mean, Salvi's been outstanding. I mean, it's been wide open discussions about this, just because teams are going to ask, and it's just by nature. I want to be open with our players, and in this case, I confirmed yesterday that a team called and asked about him, and I talked to Salvi about it, so he's aware of it. Salvi knows that it's a business, but we also know that, it's a business, but, Salvi has the right to accept or decline any type of trade that may be on the table. The one thing that Salvi's been very, very clear about is he wants to be a Royal. He said that for the last several years. He wants to be a Royal his entire career. So I know, at least when I go into those discussions with Salvi, where he stands. But, at the same time, I have to do what's right for the organization, or at least have the discussions with him if a trade comes about that we think is worthwhile and it pays dividends for us down the road. This particular case was not that situation, but because it was reported on, I needed to have the conversation with Salvi because we want Salvi concentrating on games every night and not being distracted. But once it became public, I needed to discuss it with him.
Brady Singer mightily struggled this season. Will be a matchup against Patrick Sandoval for the Angels. The Cardinals are 27-42 in 8 games. If the Cardinals push towards the playoffs, it better start soon, as they're 27-42. The Cardinals will have Mike Velasquez on the mound, and the Mets will have Tyler McGill. Game time is at 7:05. It's a watch-free MLB game of the day. The Cubs won 4 in a row, winning 10-3 today. The Chicago White Sox are 30-40, another rough season, as they will play the Seattle Mariners. Game time is at 9:10 for the Mariners. It'll be Michael Kopech for the White Sox, and Brian Wu will make the start for the Mariners. He's just 23 years old and had a bad start last game. Game time, 9:10 Central Time. This is Sam Vaughan.